Students, let us now move on to session 4, and we are discussing exception and interrupt handling schemes. In this session, we will be discussing IRQ and FIQ exceptions and program code for enabling and disabling IRQ and FIQ exceptions. So let us quickly go through what all we have learned in our previous sessions. We have learned what is exception and what is exception handling, and we have also learned what are all the exceptions ARM core recognizes, and what are all the modes associated with these exceptions. We have learned vector table, we have learned exception priorities, we have learned link register offsets, we have learned interrupts, how to assign these interrupts to various sources, and then we have learned interrupt latency. Now, see, IRQ and FIQ exceptions occur only when the specific mask bit is cleared in the CPSR. If the mask bit is set, these interrupts are said to be disabled. So for the IRQ and FIQ exceptions to be recognized, these mask bits should be 0, or they should be in the cleared state, and those bits are in the CPSR. And ARM processor will always complete the current instruction in the execution stage of the pipeline when these IRQ and FIQ interrupts are raised. When interrupts are raised, the instruction which is in the execution stage of the pipeline will be completed. And the system designer should have this in mind, that interrupt latency may increase by the use of multi-cycle instructions, because as we learned in the earlier point, that the ARM core will always complete the instruction in the execution stage of the pipeline, and when the interrupt is raised, the instruction in the execution stage may be a multi-cycle instruction. In such a case, it cannot be stopped by any means. That instruction must be completed, and that instruction may take more time. And when that is getting executed, if some very important interrupt is raised, then that servicing of that interrupt may be delayed, and that may cause problems. So that is why system designer should be very careful when choosing the instructions. Next, let us discuss what happens when IRQ or FIQ exceptions are raised. So students, it is again the same procedure that happens, or it is the same steps ARM controller will go through when exceptions are raised, because IRQ and FIQ are also exceptions. So let us recollect once again. The processor changes to a specific interrupt request mode, which reflects the interrupt being raised. This is one step, and it saves the previous mode, or the CPSR will be saved into SPSR of the interrupt request mode, and the PC is saved into the LR, or the link register of the new interrupt request mode. And either IRQ or both IRQ and FIQ exceptions, or interrupts, are disabled. If it is FIQ, both IRQ and FIQ are disabled. If it is IRQ, only IRQ will be disabled. And then it takes branch to specific entry in the vector table. It takes branch to the specific interrupt service routine or the vector location. So the same sequence of steps is shown in this diagram also. So this flow chart, it demonstrates what are all the steps it takes when IRQ is raised. See, before the IRQ is raised, you may notice that both I and F flags corresponding to the IRQ and FIQ are reset. They are shown in small letters. And assume that now IRQ exception is raised. And what happens is it first disables these the respective interrupt. In this case, since it is IRQ is disabled by setting the I flag in the CPSR. So that is reflected in the first step. And next what it does is it saves CPSR into SPSR of the IRQ mode, and then it loads and then it saves PC into the link register of the IRQ mode. And finally, it takes branch to the IRQ vector address, vector location. And then what it does is it executes the software handler, which is written specifically for IRQ exception. And after completing the handler, it returns to the main task and the mode. It returns to the user mode where it was. So this is what happens when IRQ exception is raised. And when FIQ exception is raised, similar thing happens, but the only difference is when FIQ exception occurs, both I and F flags are set, thereby disabling both IRQ and FIQ from interrupting the core further. So when FIQ exception occurs, I and F flags will be set, and CPSR will be stored or saved into FIQ SPSR of the FIQ mode, and then the content of the PC will be saved into link register of the FIQ mode, and then PC will be loaded with the vector address 0x1C. After that, it moves to the software handler, and when it has completed the execution of the software handler, it returns to the main task. Now let us learn how to enable and disable these IRQ and FIQ exceptions. Let's first learn how to enable these IRQ and FIQ exceptions. And even in this table, before the code is being executed, we have shown the status of the flags. So these flags were set before the execution of this small block of code. Means you may notice that both I and F flags are shown in capital letters. It means that they are both set. So now let us take the example of IRQ. So this is the code which enables the IRQ interrupt. It is disabled in the beginning. Now we have to reset that I bit so that the IRQ is enabled again. So to reset it, we need to make correction to the CPSR, and specifically to the I bit of the CPSR. And we know that CPSR cannot be written directly. So what we have to do is we have to bring the content of the CPSR into some general purpose register, make the appropriate correction, and then write it back to the CPSR. So copying from the CPSR to the general purpose register is done by the first instruction MRS R1, CPSR. So this instruction brings content of the CPSR into register R1. And after that, we are clearing the corresponding bit of the IRQ with the instruction BIC R1, R1, hash 0x80. So we are clearing the bit indicated with this immediate number. Means we have marked the most significant bit high, which corresponds to the IRQ bit in the CPSR. So for your information, let us just recall the CPSR content, I mean CPSR structure. See, this is how the CPSR flags are allocated, and it is in the these I and F flags are in the control part of the CPSR, and I being the most significant bit. In order to clear this, we have to select this I bit, which is at the position, which is the 8th bit in the control part or in the CPSR register. So in order to clear this, we are using the bit clear instruction, and we are selecting the I bit by putting the immediate value hash 0x80. And R1, since R1 has the copy of CPSR, and we are clearing the bit marked by this 80. So after clearing the I bit in the register R1, we will have to write this altered bit structure back to CPSR. And we cannot write the whole 32-bit register to CPSR, because CPSR allows us to update only a certain part of it, that to control part of the CPSR. Means each part should be specifically updated, not the whole CPSR register. So the last instruction MSR copies the contents of R1 to the control part of the CPSR where the I bit is residing. So hence, after execution of this code, you may notice that as the post status, I bit is cleared. This is how we enable the IRQ exception. So similarly, to enable the FIQ exception, we just have to address the FIQ bit in register R1. So again, FRQ being the next significant bit to the I flag. So that is why to clear this, we use the immediate value 0 cross 40. So MRS R1 comma CPSR will bring the content of the CPSR to register R1, and then BIC instruction will clear the F flag in the F flag corresponding a bit corresponding to the F flag in the register R1. And then the MSR instruction is copying the register R1 content to the control part of the CPSR. So thereby we have enabled the FIQ instruction, FIQ interrupt. You may notice that the enabled FIQ flag is shown in small letter in the post status, and it was a capital letter before the execution of this code. So capital letter indicates the set CPSR, set bit, and small letter indicates the reset bit. So this is how we enable the IRQ and FIQ exceptions. So similarly, we may have to, in some cases, disable the IRQ and FIQ exceptions, interrupts. So to do so, we will have to set the corresponding bits. So before considering the sample code or the sample program to disable the IRQ and FIQ exceptions, let us assume that these two exceptions or these two interrupts are in the enabled state. So they are enabled when the corresponding bits are 0. So they are shown in small letters, small I and small f. And again, since we cannot directly alter the contents of the CPSR, we will have to bring the content of CPSR to register R1, and after making the necessary corrections, we will have to write back to the control part of the CPSR. And since we cannot write the whole register R1 into the whole complete CPSR, we will have to specifically select the control part of the CPSR to be updated. And now, in order to set the respective bits, we will have to use the R instruction. So use the R instruction and set the corresponding bit by using the appropriate immediate byte. So in this case of IRQ, we will have to OR the content of register R1 by 0 cross 80. So doing so, we will be setting the IRQ bit or a high flag in the CPSR register. Similarly, to disable the FIQ exception, we will have to OR the register R1 with 0 cross 40, because that will set the next significant bit to IRQ flag. And as usual, MSR instruction will copy the altered register R1 to the control part of the CPSR. So this way we can disable the IRQ and FIQ exceptions. So these exceptions will have to be enabled and disabled when they are handled. So this is how we do that. So So this completes this session. So let us discuss some questions on this session. So the first question, FIQ exception occurs when FIQ mask bit F is cleared, FIQ pin is asserted, when A and B are both true, when either of the cases is true. See, for the FIQ exception to be recognized, so FIQ mask bit should be cleared and FIQ pin should be asserted. So only, so the appropriate answer will be when both A and B are true. So the answer should be option C, when A and B are both true. Next question. When FIQ exception occurs, CPSR is saved in. So CPSR will be obviously saved into SPSR of the respective mode. Means when FIQ exception occurs, CPSR will be stored in SPSR FIQ. So the answer is B. When IRQ exception occurs, PC will be stored into SPSR IRQ mode. Next, when FIQ exception occurs, PC is set to 2. So PC is set to the vector address associated with FIQ exception, that is 0 cross 1C. When IRQ exception occurs, PC is set to. So the exception vector address for IRQ is 0 cross 18. So the correct answer is A. So next question, the instruction MRS R1, CPSR copies the contents of CPSR to R1, R1 to CPSR, R1 to memory, memory to R1. So this instruction copies the contents of CPSR into register R1. So the answer is option A. Next, the instruction BIC R1, R1, hash 0 cross 80 enables IRQ, enables FIQ, disables IRQ, disables FIQ. See, this BIC instruction is the bit clear instruction. So this is trying to clear a bit. So clearing a bit, clearing either I or F, since we are discussing the interrupts, clearing I bit or F bit will enable the respective interrupt. And 80 is trying to clear the most significant bit, which corresponds to the I flag, and which corresponds to the IRQ interrupt. So by clearing the bit, we are enabling the interrupt, and in this case it is enabling IRQ interrupt. So option is A. The instruction BIC R1, R1, hash 0 cross 40. So the instruction BIC is the bit clear instruction, and it is trying to clear some bit selected by the immediate value 0 cross 40. So clear, we are with this instruction we are trying to clear a bit addressed by this immediate value hash 0 cross 40, which corresponds to FIQ interrupt. So in this case we are enabling FIQ interrupt. Hence we are enabling FIQ interrupt, and the correct answer is option B. Next, the instruction ORR R1, R1, hash 0 cross 80. So with instruction ORR, we are trying to set a bit. So setting a bit will disable the exception. So option should be one of either C or D. And 0 cross 80 with immediate value 0 cross 80, we are addressing the most significant bit, which corresponds to IRQ. So the answer should be disable IRQ. Next, the instruction ORR R1, R1, hash 40. So again, the ORR instruction is setting some bit in register R1, and the bit is the one selected by the immediate value 0 cross 40. And since setting a bit is disabling the interrupt, and 0 cross 40 is selecting the F bit, so the answer should be disable FIQ exception. So that's all for this session. Thank you.